Alright, today we're going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin price action because we're once again seeing a lot of volatility to the downside during this low volume weekend. So what we'll do is start off with these shorter term time frames that you can see on the chart right now, looking at those 5-minute candles, and then we'll start working our way back out to look at the macro to see where we potentially are in the cycle, to see if we're still in the bull market or have we started to enter the bear market with this new unemployment data that shocked the market. So let's go ahead and talk about it, starting off with these two fixed range volume profiles that I've pulled out along with the swing low, swing high Fibonacci levels. What is all of this? Well, I'm currently monitoring a trade that I'm in. I took a long from around this point of control down here after we saw this sweep structure over here on trading light. You can see we came down and swept this liquidity. So these yellow lines are my sweep levels. I'd like to take longs on swing failure patterns below these. So we went ahead and grabbed these lows back here. We had a poor low on the TPO profile, this time-based profile. So this was a big level to watch, right? Are we going to sweep this daily session, get back above it, clean out that low? And we have now gone ahead and actually done that, right? We swept down below. You can see on this TPO profile now, all of these single print tails at the bottom of that profile signaling a good low. So I'd like to see that. And when we had the 30-minute candle closes above with this big capitulation wick and a very clean failed auction down here, you can see hundreds of Bitcoin being sold off versus no buyers at the bottom of a wick, but price does not accept down there. It bounces off that sell imbalance, showing that the auction had failed and price is not likely to retest. Confirmation of the sweep level, that's an indication to take a long. So I went ahead and took that, and now waiting to see if price is going to retest this golden pocket or if we can actually hold up higher. I'm hoping that we can actually hold this new kind of micro sweep level, right? We went ahead and made this low within here on the 1-minute time frames. Price has come down and swept it, and now what I want to see is price bouncing off of this level, showing that there is large whales absorbing the liquidity behind this, because of course there's going to be a lot of stops that have put their invalidation at that wick. So wicking below it to grab those stops is going to fill whales, and as long as they're able to push price up after this, that will be a very good sign. You can see this is also within a low volume gap here on the shorter term time frames. So holding this level is something that I want to see, and assuming we can start making higher highs here, I will move up my stop to profit. Right now my stop loss is at entry because I know that something like this is also in the cards right now, but I'm sure many of you don't care about this super short-term time frame. So let's go ahead and delete these two volume profiles, and we do have some levels are more important on the higher term time frames, such as this is the value area high of our previous bottom end range, and this is the point of control of that previous range. This was taken, if we go out here to the hourly time frame now, back here, this is a fixed range from the first kind of low within this range to when we exited it. So you go ahead, pull that fixed range, and you will get the value area high, point of control, value area low. A lot of times when we test these ranges, right, after escaping them, you will find support either on the value area high or the point of control, right? So I sweep down to the point of control, and when you get this, you want to see a reclaim of the value area high. You do not want to reject. If we come up here and reject this value area high now, that is going to signal value area low, and at that point you're probably going to be breaking the lows because you are not showing strength within that range. So this is something very important to watch on the charts. We had the bounce off this point of control. We tried to hold the value area high as support, but did fail it momentarily, but nothing too much to worry about, right? As long as we can hold where we are right now, that's going to be good to see. And then the daily time frame close is going to be something we're going to want to keep our eye on. Can we close the daily back above the value area high of this range? That would also be the bottom side of the CME gap. So we have CME opening soon. So if we can go ahead and start opening at the bottom of the CME gap, I do think this is going to signal a good low for us. And as long as we can close the daily up here and this does become our low, that is going to look very good for a potential move to the upside for my base case of that upthrust after distribution, finally sending us back to all-time highs once again. And what are some confluences on the higher term time frame that go along with my base case, right? So back over here to trading light, let's zoom out to the daily time frame now. We covered this a little bit in a previous video, and we talked about how even though we do have this bullish divergence, it could come down lower. It has come down lower, swept more liquidity, but we are still holding the daily hidden bullish divergence by having these higher lows on price whereas we have lower lows on our CVD, the cumulative volume delta, on an open interest increase. So there are more positions being opened. Those positions are more short than long, yet price is maintaining a higher low, which means those shorts are getting absorbed by whales. We see this on multiple exchanges. We also have this on Bybit as well. You can see the higher lows on price in open interest, whereas you have a much lower low on the CVD, showing that there's a lot of shorts getting absorbed by price right now, signaling that this open interest is probably going to get squeezed. And assuming this open interest can get squeezed, we could see price shoot up here and stop out all of those short positions that are late to the trade. And we really don't actually need that much of a squeeze to get us to those all-time highs. You can see back here on price action is where we're going to be looking, where we made that first initial buying climax for Bitcoin that started this distribution pattern. In my opinion, we saw open interest decrease throughout this first move right here, and then in the secondary move we see longs opening. So this is classic topping structure, short squeeze up into the level, and then a long start opening at the highs before your reversal happens. So if we were to see a similar thing here, we don't have to see open interest to drop that much. We would just reset to these lows here, to about right here on open interest, and then we could see longs fumbling up at the highs. And this right here could be a fractal of what happens. We go up about this amount. We see shorts closing out throughout the trend here, and then we see longs opening once we get towards those all-time highs, the break of all-time highs. There will be a lot of FOMO along with those short liquidations, and once you see those longs getting trapped at the highs is when we could actually roll over. And I think this would still wrong foot the most amount of people, because something I'm seeing in the markets right now is a lot of bearish sentiment that really came out of nowhere. When we had that economic data come out, the bears came out of the woodwork. Everyone started calling for the bear market, and we historically know that recessions don't happen when everybody is calling for a recession. This was one of my big sentiment indicators to be scooping up the lows in 2022 and 2023, because everyone was calling for a recession, and the data said that a recession was still further off than it was. So it was a very easy buy signal. Now we have everyone calling for a recession once again, but the data does say we're actually entering a recession this time. So definitely time to be more cautious, right? We're at the highs. We have data such as unemployment numbers that are actually very bearish. But I do believe with everyone calling for a recession, with a lot of shorts being open in the market and price absorbing those shorts, that a short squeeze up to all-time highs to flip that sentiment once again before the final top does come in is the most likely scenario. That being said, even though my base case remains the same, I still do see the bear case where we could just fall from here, because like I just said, unemployment data is actually pretty scary. We are actually showing data that suggests a recession is starting. So if we cannot hold the higher low, if we start making a lower low here, that's going to completely invalidate this bullish divergence that we're having on the charts. This CVD bull div is only valid if price can maintain a higher low. If it cannot, if it does not show strength at this level and does fail, that would not be a good sign. And we are getting to a very critical level on the charts for Bitcoin and many of our altcoins that we'll talk about in just a second. But real quickly, this golden pocket is huge. Whenever we break these on the fibs, you will often see a back test of the golden pocket and then a rollover in bearish scenarios. So we definitely do not want to see this just get rejected and play out like that. We need to see price get back above the golden pocket, flip it back into support, and then we can have a continuation on up higher. Of course, let's wait for CME to open. They will kind of decide where markets go. Let's see how traditional finance reacts. It's still the weekend, so there's not a ton of charts to go off of right now. So I will say I'm not convinced one way or another quite yet. I have my base case, but I'm ready to react depending on what the charts are telling me. So let's see how price does react here. Really want to hold where we are. If we lose these lower lows, we're going to start losing a lot of our confluences, such as a hidden RSI bull div as well. Higher lows on price. This is on the 12-hour daily time frame, higher term time frames. RSI is showing hidden bull divs of these lower lows on RSI, higher lows on price. Once again, just showing absorption from selling pressure. But I think we've covered Bitcoin well enough. Let's quickly talk about the altcoin market, because this is at an even more critical level in my opinion. So starting off here with others, these are all of your smaller cap altcoins, and we have made a new wick low just barely, and we're trying to hold this level, but it's showing a lot of weakness right now because there are just so many new altcoins out this cycle. It's definitely pertinent to find winners in the market right now, because even in bullish scenarios, we don't really see a ton of risk on start having expansion when we do have monetary policy where it is right now. So especially with unemployment going up, we are going to see money start rotating into more of your blue chip assets. Potentially some meme coins will still go parabolic because they normally do at the end of the bull run, but certainly a lot of your altcoins are showing weakness right now, and we are at a critical low right here that we should not be breaking in a bullish scenario. But others chart doesn't tell the whole story, because total 3 could still show us that we're holding this higher low that potentially still has the chance to make a higher high within here. This is still somewhat fractaling what we had seen back in 2020. If we're getting real moon bullish here, this is something that is still possible, right? Where we have this fractal of a first low during the uptrend, secondary low to sweep that low, and then consolidation, and then a much larger sweep that goes on to then slowly start this uptrend that eventually goes absolutely parabolic into the entire run of 2020-2021 cycle. And right now we are still respecting that fractal, although we are coming down lower than last time. So we have this first wick low during the uptrend, secondary wick low, consolidation for quite some time, and then we do a much larger sweep of both of those lows. This could be that slow consolidation before the rip on up. This fractal looks much more similar on the 3-day. You can see, wick low, secondary wick low, full sweep, and now coming down a little bit lower than we did last cycle, but we could start flipping this stuff into support and coming up here to these value area highs of the previous bull market range, which is still kind of my target. I think this is possible, right, to go ahead and sweep these highs on a short squeeze similar to what Bitcoin is doing, and then to find some resistance back up here at the bull market range before we finally do roll over. So once again, assuming we can hold this higher low on the daily time frame, I do think there is a good case that the altcoin market could also be bottomed right now, but we are at a critical level. So we got to watch this carefully. Let's see if we can flip this into support, get back above, make sure we're not just coming up and rejecting this volume level. So far I like that we're holding the higher lows, but definitely showing some weakness on total 3 as well. So got to be cautious. The market might flip on our heads, and there is still the bear case in which we could just enter the full-on bear market and go to new lows than even we had in 2022. We could break all of this stuff and go down much lower, because there's a potential we enter the Great Depression 2.0. So there's definitely a case to be worried, but I don't see the case to just instantly panic sell right now. But of course, do your own research, figure out what you want to do. We are at a critical time in the markets, but this is why you always buy in the bear markets, so you don't have to be freaking out that you're down a bunch of money, because you should be in profit no matter what, and you should just be deciding whether to take smaller profit or if you want to hold it for a higher high. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I am holding. I'm only going to be selling if we have a clear invalidation, and so far this looks like a potential fake out to the downside, because everyone is bearish and recessions don't normally happen when everybody is calling for a recession. But if you do have any questions about anything I talked about, or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is at the top of the description down below. Below that is my VIP Discord, 50% off right now for the first month. Click on that link to learn more about it. It is specifically for leveraged trading though, and also below that are 3 awesome exchanges that do each offer individual perks. So definitely check that out as well. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.